Hello guys, in this video I'm going to talk about monopoly, which is a type of market competition. In my last video I had explained the concept of perfect competition. Perfect competition is one extreme of market competitive structure where we have number of buyers and number of sellers. Because there are huge number of buyers in market, buyer has to be the taker of what market decides. They do not have power to decide price or demand in market. So that's the reason that competitive structure is called perfect competition. Another extreme, we have monopoly. Monopoly, we only have one seller, and since one seller dominates the market, seller has power to decide price. Seller has power to derive maximum benefit out of market based on their cost structure and based on market demand. So how do we achieve monopoly in the market, and what kind of market characteristic allow monopoly to establish? We will look all those aspects of monopoly market in this video. So let's just start first with how to comparison between monopoly and perfect competition. So what is the difference and what is the similarity, and how both these type of market competitive structure are different from each other. So in terms of output and price, how perfect competition output and price behave and how in monopoly market that behave. In perfect competition, you get your equilibrium when P is equal to marginal cost. So price has to be equal to marginal cost. While in monopoly, price is greater than your average cost. So why in monopoly, our assumption is that in monopoly, the firms they derive maximum profit out of their production. So price will always be above their average cost, so they could keep on deriving some profit out of the market. While in perfect competition, price has to be equal to marginal cost, because price for firm is always same. Price for firm doesn't change. It's a perfect elastic competitive market. So it has to be equal to marginal cost, so that they do not go into loss. The second factor is equilibrium. Where do we find the equilibrium for perfect competition and where it is for monopoly? For perfect competition, equilibrium, your marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, and your marginal cost cut the marginal revenue curve from below. While in monopoly, equilibrium can be realized whether marginal cost is rising, constant or falling. In terms of entry, perfect competition, there are no restriction on entry or exit of firm. So there is no regulation or there is no kind of technological entry or that bars firm from entering into the market. It is free. Any number of firms can enter or exit. While in monopoly, there are strong barriers on entry and exit of firms, and these barriers can be in terms of multiple things. Either it could be regulation of government, or it could be high fixed cost, or it could be some high technological patent which bars other firm to enter in the market. The next is discrimination. Since perfect competition is perfectly competitive market and the market set the price, seller do not have any say into that, they cannot discriminate. So discrimination is not possible, but a monopolist can charge different prices for different group of buyers. So it's on monopolist how they want to derive the maximum benefit. In order to do that, they can discriminate between number of buyers and charge different prices. The next is profit. Perfect competition, firm in long run enjoy only normal profit, while monopoly can charge different prices, do discrimination, and that can result in supernormal profit to the monopolist. Supply curve of firm. So perfect competition supply curve of firm can be known because all firm can sell desired quantity at prevailing price. So you know what is the demand, you know the price, and you know all the firm have similar structure, so supply curve of the firm can be known. Under monopoly, supply firm cannot be known. In perfect competition, we know marginal cost curve is basically supply curve for the firm when it is above average cost, while marginal cost of curve is not the supply curve of the monopolist. The next is slope of demand curve. Perfect competition demand curve is perfectly elastic. So we know for perfect competition, your firm where your average cost, average revenue is equal to marginal revenue, that is your price, and your firm demand curve is different than your industry demand curve. Industry demand curve is negative sloped demand curve, while your firm demand curve is horizontal line, and it's a case of perfectly elastic. In monopoly, average revenue curve slopes downward, and average curve and marginal curve are separate from each other. While in perfect competition, both average curve and marginal curve, average revenue and marginal revenue curve are same. So in perfect competition, you can see both average revenue and marginal revenue are the same straight line, while in monopoly, you have negative slope, average revenue and marginal revenue, but they are different curve. So that is your demand or average revenue curve. Next is comparison of price. In long period, under perfect competition, price become equal to average cost. So firm starts incurring just zero profit. Because in last session, what we saw in perfect competition in firm are having some profit, then more and more new firm will enter into market unless until the point your price become equal to your average cost. In monopoly, price is higher than perfect competition price. Because you can see in the curve, which I will explain to you later in the session, that P1 is the price of perfect competition price, where your average revenue is equal to marginal revenue and is equal to your average cost. While in monopoly, your price is where your marginal revenue is marginal cost. So this price is always higher, which is P, that is always higher than P1, which is your perfect competition price. The next is comparison of output. Perfect competition output is higher than monopoly price. So since price is lower for perfect competition than monopoly, output is also higher than monopoly for the given condition. And monopoly output will be definitely lower than perfect competitive output. So monopolist, they produce low, charge high, and incur the supernormal profit in short term. So that was the comparison between perfect competition and monopoly. The next we will see that how demand, cost, and equilibrium work for the monopoly market. So since there is single firm in the industry, firm demand curve is identical to the industry demand curve. Therefore, the demand curve of a monopolist is downward sloping. So in perfect competition, we saw demand curve was different for the firm and demand curve was different from the industry. Because the firm was the taker of price, firm demand curve was the horizontal line where regardless of any quantity for any quantity price is same, while market demand curve change. But in as opposite to that, in your monopoly market, there is only single firm in the industry, so firm demand curve will be same as your industry demand curve, which will be downward sloping demand curve. So let's consider demand curve will be downward sloping, but it could be anything. But let's consider for the study that is the straight line demand curve. Where your P is equal to A minus BQ. P is price and Q is the quantity demanded. So consider this is the formula for demand curve. Or you can say X minus ABP, where X is your quantity demanded and P is price. Now, if you are going by this formula, your slope of demand curve will be dP by dx. So if you see dP by dx, if you make P here, P will become A by B minus 1 by bx. So when you derive dP by dx, that will become 1 minus 1 by b. And then price elasticity at any point of the demand curve is given by dx by dp, p by x, dx by dp into p by x. So dx by dp, you know, that is minus b, and then p by x. That would be your price elasticity. Now, price elasticity at different points. So price elasticity, if you see at the point A, at point A your x is 0, so dP by dx will be infinity. So that is your condition, that is your point where it is infinite elastic. So if your demand curve is like this, that would be your infinite elastic, which is your perfect competition demand curve. At B price at point B, your P will be 0. So if you are keeping P 0, your slope becomes 0, dP by dx becomes 0, so that your elasticity becomes 0 at this price, at this point B. That means it's perfectly inelastic. So regardless of any price, your quantity, regardless of any quantity, your price gonna be 0. And at point AC, where AC is equal to BC, your price elasticity will be minus 1 if you derive by this. Dx by dP become minus b, and then p, what would be p here? P will be nothing but, so this is total, if a, this will be minus 1 by b, and this will be a by b. So this p is nothing but minus 1 by 2b. So your overall P is here A by B. So this point it will be A by 2B, and this is A here whole. So at this point A by 2, so when you divide it minus B into A by 2B by 2A, it will give you minus 1 at midpoint. So we saw the demand function of a monopolist. What is the revenue function of monopolist? So basically revenue will be demand quantity into price. So average revenue is ARH TR by X. TR is total revenue, and total revenue will be P into X by PX by X. So average revenue is nothing but your price, which is A minus BX. So we can say average revenue is nothing but your demand curve. So when you are saying demand curve for monopoly is this is nothing but your demand curve as well as your average revenue curve. Marginal revenue is given by your total revenue differentiated by in terms of quantity. So marginal revenue, when you differentiate, so now your P is equal to A minus BQ, your total revenue will be PQ, which will be AQ minus BQ square. When we derive average revenue, we saw it is A minus BQ, which is nothing but P in terms of Q, which is your demand curve. Now if you try to derive marginal revenue, you will differentiate total revenue with respect to quantity. So that will become A minus 2BQ. So now if you see the slope of your demand curve or average demand curve will be minus 1 by B, and slope of your marginal revenue is minus 2 by, the slope is minus B and the slope is minus 2B. So slope of MR curve is basically twice of slope of average revenue curve. So if you look into this, your demand and average revenue curve is this. This is Q, this is P, MR and average revenue. So MR revenue curve will nothing but the same as demand curve. Slope will be double of demand and average revenue curve for MR curve. So we saw the revenue curve and a marginal revenue curve and average revenue curve for monopolist, and how do we find equilibrium for monopolist. And when we talk about equilibrium, what would be the short run equilibrium and long run equilibrium, we will look into both. So a monopolist is always guided by profit motives and therefore is reached to equilibrium, it maximizes her profit. So its short run equilibrium and long run equilibrium will be based on how it maximizes its profit. So in short run, monopolist cannot adjust its plant size, but it maximizes its short run profit by equating marginal revenue and marginal cost. So if demand function is given by x and profit function is function of x, because profit is variable for monopolist unlike perfect competition, it will be function of quantity, and cost is also function of x, then your total profit will be total revenue minus total cost. In order to maximize your profit, we will differentiate profit with terms of x, and then your TR differentiated with x minus TC differentiated with x. If you equate it to 0, TR differentiated by x will become marginal revenue and TC differentiated x will become marginal cost. Hence, at marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, your monopolist will find its profit maximization condition for short run. Short run, this equalization condition will be profit maximization condition, as opposite to long run where there are another criterias like decreasing your cost by adjusting your plant size, so you could do more in order to increase your profit. So as you see, this is your marginal revenue line. This one is your marginal demand, or sorry, your average revenue or demand curve. your average cost curve and marginal cost curve. So wherever marginal cost meet your marginal revenue, that's your equilibrium point for monopolist. So at this point, if you go to average cost, that will give you cost, and if you go to demand curve, that will give you price. So at this point you can see cost is greater than your price, monopolist will incur loss. So as opposed to this, if you look into the second figure, this is your marginal cost and average cost, and where your marginal cost cut your marginal revenue curve, that is your equilibrium point. So this equilibrium Q is your equilibrium quantity. So if you go and wherever this cut, this average cost will give you cost, and wherever it will cut your demand curve, it will give you price. So now price is greater than your cost. So monopolists, they are making profit for this curve. So your short run equilibrium occurs at when your marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue, and if firm will make profit or cost will depend on your slope of marginal cost and marginal revenue and average cost. So in first case you saw the firm were making loss, and in second case you saw the firm is making profit. So that depends upon the cost structure of the monopolist firm, that if they will make profit or loss in the short run. So in short run, in order to make profit, it has to satisfy the second order condition for profit maximization, where your slope of marginal revenue should be less than slope of marginal cost. So we can summarize the condition for short run profit maximization, that your marginal revenue should be greater than marginal cost, but slope of marginal revenue should be less than marginal cost. That means marginal cost cut marginal revenue from below. Now what is the long run equilibrium for monopolist? In long run, the monopolist is endowed with the time to expand plant or use existing plant at any level that maximizes her profit. Unlike perfect competition, it is not necessary for monopolists to reach an optimal scale. To build up a plant until when we talk about optimal scale, we are saying to reach the minimum point of long run average cost curve. So just consider the long run average cost curve. What you are seeing, there will be multiple short run average cost curve, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can see it here. So consider at point 1 firm was making loss, as we saw in our last calculation. So consider this was the point 1 where firm was making loss. When it reaches the point 2, it started making profit. This is the second cost curve for short run. Now at second point, consider firm is right now at second point, and at this curve it's making some profit. So and then when it came to third point, it started making supernormal profit. So cost is low here, and then price is high, equilibrium price is high, so firm is making more profit than the first curve. So in long term run equilibrium, a firm can achieve more profit by adjusting its plant size. So it can remain at the plant size 2 and make this profit, or it can go to the third plant size and try to make the profit supernormal profit as it's given here. Now when it move ahead more, if firm are making supernormal profit, more and more firm can enter, which happens in perfect competition. So what will happen to perfect competition? Perfect competition will come to this point, lowest point of its curve, average cost curve where P will become average cost, P equal to average cost to marginal cost, so that firm will not make any profit, zero profit here. So we saw the equilibrium for monopolist, that how monopolist in short run they can uh, their equilibrium at reach when marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue, and in long run they can adjust their plant size so that they can realize maximum revenue. Now monopolist has one more characteristic which make it different from perfect competition, that is price discrimination. So when a monopolist charge different prices from different buyers for the same commodity, it's known as discriminating monopolist. Two conditions must be fulfilled for price discrimination to be possible. Market must be divided into sub-market with different price elasticity. So that market has different group, that has different capacity, and that has different behavior towards the price change. So this division must be effective in sense that no reselling can occur from the low price market to high price market. So if monopolist is charging different prices to different market, those products should not be resold from lower price to higher price. And price discrimination is possible due to the following reason: discrimination owing to consumer peculiarities, discrimination owing to the nature of good, discrimination due to distance and frontier barriers, and in some cases price discrimination occurs because of legal sanction. For example, electricity distribution company can charge different rates for different user. They can charge higher rate for commercial user and lower rate for household user, non-commercial. Goods which cannot be resold like electricity, transport or some kind of services are perfect example for price discrimination, because and they are usually the one that can be discriminated for different user. How do we find equilibrium of a discriminating monopolist? So let's consider monopolist is charging two different prices and it's selling X1 to first market and X2 to second market. So total amount sold by monopolist is X1 plus X2. So total profit will be revenue generated in market 1, revenue generated in market 2 minus total cost. So first order profit maximization condition will give you, when you try to differentiate it, your marginal revenue generated in first market should be equal to marginal revenue generated in second market should be equal to marginal cost. So if there is a difference between marginal revenue generated in first and second market, in that case monopolist will not consider marginal revenue generated in first market is greater than marginal revenue generated in second market. In that case monopolist will prefer to sell in market 1 than market 2. So in order to discrimination to occur, this marginal revenue has to be same. So if MR1 is greater than MR2, so monopolist will prefer to sell in first market, and they will keep doing it until marginal revenue in first market become marginal revenue in second market. So this condition MR1 equal to MR2 equal to MC has to be satisfied. So if in the first column what you see, this is the equilibrium for market 1, this is the equilibrium for market 2. So marginal revenue you can see. Now when you combine these two, it will give you combined graph for discriminating monopolist. So when you add marginal cost will remain same, cost is not going to change, cost structure will remain same for both. When you add up both, your marginal revenue will change. So if you add these graph and this graph, this will give you marginal revenue. So that will give you monopolist marginal revenue. And this will be equilibrium point. Wherever this marginal revenue curve cuts your marginal cost, that's your equilibrium point. So what are different types of price discrimination? Price discrimination can be personal when different prices are charged to a different person. For example, a surgeon can charge surgery charge differently to different person. Price discrimination is local when a seller charges different prices from the product from the people of different localities. So one product is sold in different price in one location or different price in another location. Price discrimination is according to use when different prices are charged for different use of commodity. So for example, electricity could be charged differently for commercial and for non-commercial use. Pigou has given 3 degrees of discriminating power leading to three different types of price discrimination, that is first degree, second degree and third degree. So first degree price discrimination, what it is? It is known as sometimes known as optimal pricing with perfect price discrimination. So what in first degree price discrimination, what happens? Firms separate market into individual consumer and charges them the price they are willing and able to pay. So using the first degree price discrimination, monopolist extracts the whole consumer surplus. So it looks into each and individual customer and try to know what are their capacity to pay, and it extracts the whole consumer surplus revenue from the customer. And the maximum price when someone is willing to pay for one unit is called the reservation price, and monopolists try to charge this reservation price for each and every customer. So in this case, monopolist will continue to sell extra unit as long as extra revenue exceed the marginal cost of production. So your marginal revenue, when it cuts your marginal cost, this is marginal cost and marginal revenue. So that's give you price. And this area is called your consumer surplus area, because this is the price consumer will be willing for different quantity, and since you are charging this price for this quantity, these area will become your consumer surplus area. Now, as part of first degree discrimination, what monopolist tries to extract the whole consumer surplus itself. So in that case, your marginal curve of monopolist become the demand curve itself. So if they want to appropriate this whole consumer surplus area, your demand curve becomes marginal revenue. Second degree price discrimination. Second degree price discrimination occurs when monopolist is able to charge different prices for different range and group of output. So price tends to fall when quantity bound increases. For example, hotel industry where spare rooms are sold on last minute at standby basis. So in this type of industry, fixed cost of production are pretty high. At the same time, marginal and variable costs are low and predictable. So hotel industry do these things, and then you can find airline which sell tickets on different prices at last minute. So usually such industry which has very high fixed cost but very low marginal or variable cost are able to charge second degree price discrimination. So in second degree price discrimination, each additional unit sold from 1 to x1 add p1 revenue. Similarly, x2 to x add p2 to revenue, and so on. So you basically your price become your marginal revenue curve for that point. So consider for 0 to x1. This is your 0 to x1 quantity. This quantity x1 here. Price charge is P1. So extra revenue what you got for one quantity is P1. So this is your marginal revenue curve. Similarly for x1 to x2, this range price charge is P2. So for one extra unit, you earn revenue of P2, which is your marginal revenue. So this is your marginal revenue curve. And similarly for so on, P3, this is the one. So your marginal revenue curve becomes like step-like unit. The next, third degree price discrimination. Third degree price discrimination occurs when the monopolist partition the market demand into two or more group of customer and then charges different prices to different group. So what monopolist is trying to exploit is the price elasticity of demand of different group. Third degree discrimination is possible only when the separate customer group have different elasticities of demand. It is similar to first degree. In first degree, market is segregated based on individual customer to extract profit, while in third degree, it is applicable to group. For example, a theater may divide moviegoers in senior adults or children, each paying a different price. So in third degree price discrimination, market determines or monopolist determines the elasticity of different group and charge different group based on their price elasticity of demand. Welfare aspect of monopolist. Since monopolists restrict output and charges and price higher than whole what would prevail under the perfect competition, such restriction of output result in loss of consumer and producer surplus. By examining these losses, we can determine the net welfare to cost in society from the monopoly. Now let's see what is the loss to the society through the monopolist market. So if you see from this curve, for monopolist, your equilibrium point is where your marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So that is the quantity is monopolist quantity here and price is monopolist price. So now for monopoly, this is your consumer surplus area, which is monopolist consumer surplus is A, B and PM. This is for monopolist. Now, if you talk about perfect competition, your marginal cost is equal to your margin average revenue, which is your demand. Now, so this is your perfect cost quantity and this is your perfect cost price, PP. So what would be consumer surplus for perfect competition? This will be till here. So that would be nothing but your A, C and P, P point. So now we can see in perfect competition we have more consumer surplus and monopolies we have less. So loss in consumer surplus we can say is ACPP minus ABPM, which is nothing but this quadrilateral, which is nothing but area PMBCPP, this area. Now, this loss is not a total loss because when we are deriving the loss to society, we need to calculate both consumer loss and loss in consumer surplus and loss in producer surplus. So now loss because of monopolism we have loss in consumer surplus which is equivalent to this, but because of monopolist market, monopolists have more producer surplus than perfect competition. So we need to consider that also, and then we need to find out what is the net loss. So producer surplus for monopolist will be, monopolist price is here and cost is here. So producer surplus for monopolist will be this whole area, and producer surplus for perfect competition where the price is perfect competition is here and cost is here. So perfect competition will be this area. So now producer surplus is less in perfect competition but more in monopoly. So this is the difference. This area will be is the difference for producer surplus. This area is nothing but PM, B, C and R minus, this is your total monopolist, and minus your perfect competition which is RCE, this area. So this area RCE is this area. So this is nothing but from here to here, this area. So again, draw it properly. Your monopoly producer surplus area, this is a monopoly quantity, this is price. So producer surplus area will be this area, and for perfect competition, this is the quantity, this is the price. So this area will be producer surplus area for perfect competition. So now for monopoly, we have producer surplus as, producer surplus for monopoly we can write as PM, this was B, PMB, and this point is E, PMBE, and this point is R, so PMBER, and minus, if you want to find net for perfect competition, this area we can say this area is for perfect competition. Producer surplus, which is nothing but P to C and then to R, this R. So PMBR can be PMBDP, this rectangle area, and plus this down area which is DER. And similarly, this area can be written as PDE and DEC. So DER will be cut, then you will have PMBDPP minus DEC. Now this is the consumer surplus net and this is the producer surplus net, loss in consumer surplus and gain in producer surplus. So now we have loss in consumer surplus and gain in producer surplus. So net loss to society will be your loss in consumer surplus minus gain in producer surplus. So we will do this minus 1 and this is 2 equation 2. So we will do 1 minus 2 to find out net loss to society. So PMD, BD, PP, PMD, BD, PP, these two areas are same. So this will cut down. So net loss will be nothing but your BCD plus DEC. So what is your BCD and DEC? BCD is this area and DEC is this area. So ultimately this area, this total area is the total loss to society in monopolist market. So as you can see, your total loss to society as we calculated is this area based on your consumer surplus and producer surplus. So in monopolist market, consumer, there is a loss of consumer surplus, but there is a gain of producer surplus. So net of this, we get this area, which is net loss to the society. Bilateral monopoly. Bilateral monopoly is said to exist when one producer has an output monopoly, whereas there is only one buyer for the product. So buyer has the demand monopoly. So if we look into market structure, we have perfect competition, monopoly and bilateral monopoly. For perfect competition, there are number of buyers are many and number of sellers are also many. Monopoly, number of buyers are many but number of sellers is only one. Bilateral monopoly, both number of buyer and number of seller are in single. So in bilateral monopoly, what will happen? There is only single buyer. So single buyer can set the demand and there is a single producer, or not single seller who can set the price. So DD is the demand curve and MR is the marginal revenue curve. So this is the demand curve. And this is a marginal revenue curve. Now, if monopolist is a seller is all powerful, how they will behave? They will behave as they will make buyer behave that there are many buyers to them and they will behave as monopolist seller. But as opposite to that, if single buyer is more powerful, what sieve can make monopolist behave like a perfect competitor. So in case of monopolist, when they want to make buyer behave as there are many buyers, she will equate marginal cost to marginal revenue. And as opposite to that, buyer will make monopolist behave like perfect competitor. So your marginal cost will become supply curve of monopolist. So marginal cost also become the supplier curve. So the buyer equates the marginal cost of buying an additional with the marginal value of additional unit and purchase XB amount. So this is the margin amount which buyer will buy. And seller behaving like a competitor with supply curve of MCS, he will sell XB at price PV. So instead of selling price, so this is the seller behave, this is their marginal cost curve, and at this price they will sell. So hence bilateral monopoly, the seller will behave as there are many buyers while buyer will behave as there are many sellers. And they will perceive the demand and price as per that, and equilibrium demand and price will be derived accordingly. That is all for today's monopoly video. Thank you for watching.